Oh,
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Face with Dion and Sean. I'm Dion.
and I'm Sean.
And I'm still getting everything kind of tweaked because I got back from Springfield. I know it's been a minute now since I got back from Springfield, but first of all, I lost some cords. I made some posts about it, but this USB hub here, I'm going to show you because I talked about it a lot. This USB hub, I found one of the cords. Unfortunately, the actual cord that provides power to this little bad boy, I was unable to find. So I just bought a new one. I was tired of messing with it. I just got a new one, and so I was able to get everything back together. So what are we talking about today? Well, I mentioned Springfield, right? But, one of the things that I'm noticing is a theme, right? In all these disasters. You've got Springfield, you've got this massive hurricane that had gone
Asheville,
through
North Carolina.
Yeah, which it's North Carolina, it's South Carolina, it's Tennessee, there's
Georgia.
Georgia, there's vast areas that are underwater, essentially. Did you hear about that plastics company that kept that wouldn't let the workers go home, and so a bunch of them died? You didn't hear about that? Okay, remind me, and I'll show it to you. We'll show it to you on here so you guys know. But yes, so there's this company, and I want to say it's in one of the Carolinas. I think North Carolina, but it might be Tennessee. It's that area, right? And it's a company, they make plastics. And what happened was they had the flood warnings, right? And they went to their, because they're getting these alerts on their phone. And they went to their boss and they're like, hey, can we get out of here? Because it says there's a flood coming. And they said, let me check with the bosses. Nobody leaves or you get fired. We got to check with the boss.
Wow.
Well, they waited just long enough for it to be too late. And then they came back to them and they're like, yeah, you guys can go. Well, by this time, cars were being swept away in the parking lot. Like there was nowhere to go. They climbed up on top of a semi to try to survive the floodwaters, and it actually flipped the semi over. That's how bad it was. There's videos from that event. I wish I could remember the name of it. I'll find it.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
Me too. That's kind of shocking to me. I will find it. Hold on, give me just 1 second. Let's see here. I actually have a really good video about it.
This happened a couple days ago?
Yeah, this was when the hurricane stuff happened there, and they had all the flooding, right? Before they kicked rescue crews out, before you heard about that, right? Where the guy was trying to pick people up in a helicopter.
Yeah.
These were various like NASCAR team owners.
Fox
right?
covered that.
This guy was trying to pick people up to rescue them at his own expense. And I guess he says it was the fire chief, but somebody in charge there said, well, no, if you don't leave, we're going to arrest you.
I've heard that.
So, okay, fine, except he had already picked one of two people. It was a husband and wife that were stranded. He had picked up the wife, took her to the spot, and that's where they're like, yeah, if you go back and get it. He's like, his son was with him. He left his son with the guy, and he's like, I got to go back and get my co-pilot. Oh, no, if you do anything, you're subject to arrest.
Wow.
It's nuts. Did you hear that I want to say North Carolina, but that area affected by the hurricane, apparently a local FEMA director was gloating or talking about how they didn't have any money to help residents and they weren't going to do anything and all of that. And they beat them. Did you hear about that?
Did they beat it? I didn't hear that.
Yes. No. Yes. They swarmed him. And apparently,
I heard FEMA ran out of money supposedly and giving the money to illegals. Yeah.
Yeah. So I figured we'd talk about that briefly. Let me find this in the meantime. But hold on. Let's see. It might have been a company in Tennessee. Let's see. Employee says Irwin Plastics manufacturer lied after river flooding. Impact Plastics. That's the name of it. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at here so that you can see. I'm going to go ahead and turn the audio on. Let me make sure you guys don't have any echo. We're not going to need to listen to this just yet, but I do want you guys to see what I see, just in case. So yeah, Impact Plastics said several employees died in the flooding from Helene. The TBI, which is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, is investigating after several employees have claimed what I just told you. They said they couldn't leave, and then they said, oh, well, you can go, but by this time it was too late. This video here is from Impact Plastics. You can literally see the cars sweeping down. Let's see here. Company could have list. Okay, so this one here, TDOT says yesterday alone, crews hauled 58 loads of debris from one area of the interstate. Plastics factory in Unicoi County is under fire after some employees were trapped in the floods and some died. The guy that they were talking to, that they did a interview with, was in tears talking about his coworkers who perished because the plant wouldn't let them leave. They told them if they didn't show up, they'd be fired. So I don't know. I don't know if I've told you this story. So my uncle he worked in the oil fields, right, in the Gulf of Mexico, and there was a massive storm one night. Now my uncle was what's known as a driller. Okay, there's a hierarchy aboard offshore rigs, right, drilling rigs. You got the top of the echelon, which is your company man, your tool pusher, blah, 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 right? As you go down the list, driller is way up here. And then you keep going all the way down to your roughnecks and your galley hands and stuff like that. That's the very bottom of the barrel, right? Roughnecks do the manual labor. They go out there, they do this, they do that, right? Drillers, they're way up here. Well, here's what happened. There was some barges that were slamming around, right? The boss told my uncle, who was a driller, go down and secure those barges. And my uncle said, I'm not doing it, right? It's not my job. And this guy told my uncle, if you don't go down there and tie those barges up, you're fired. You're going to lose your job. So he did it. Well, because of the force of the ocean, because of the force of the winds and everything that was going on, he was knocked off the barge, and he was actually crushed between two barges. He ended up passing away. He lived in agony for several days in the hospital. I am very, very, I guess you'd use the word liberal insofar as I believe that when companies purposefully do actions that put employees' lives at risk, that they should be criminally charged. Just my personal opinion. You know, your mileage may vary. But in this case, you have a company that told people they could not leave.
Yeah.
Despite a state of emergency that existed. Yeah, so you guys can just kind of see in the video a little bit of what's going on. I'm not going to worry about playing it right now because that's not the entirety of the point. But between this and Hawaii, right? Maui, what did they give those people in Maui? Like
the wildfires?
$750?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And that's how much they're giving to the people for the disaster for the hurricanes. It's a one-time payment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So again, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not saying this to say, you know, F our government or any of that stuff. I say that, but that's not the point. The point here. The point is, in a state of emergency, in a situation of massive loss of life, you know, societal breakdown, let's call it that, right? Due to whatever, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's something else, the government is not coming to save you.
No.
That's what people really need to understand. And I'm not saying don't trust your fellow man. I would say the opposite. We need to have a community that is ready, willing, and able to step into the role of helping one another. Again, in the hurricane situation that we have right now, the aftermath with the floodings and everything else, it is the regular people, the residents, who are stepping up to help each other. Now, interestingly enough, I have heard a number of stories of the government, including the guy with the helicopter, right, intentionally stopping rescues, food deliveries, stuff like that. Have you heard that?
Just the government's telling them that they're not supposed to help.
They're not supposed to help,
Yeah.
right? Now, why do you think that could be? First, have you heard anything about the reasoning behind this? I have. I'm waiting to see what you know.
The reasoning behind stopping because they're putting themselves in danger is what they're going to say.
Okay, but why do you think the real reason
Oh, the
is?
real reason.
Yeah, I mean, they can say whatever because we don't want to have to rescue more people. You know,
That's what they say.
That's what they say. And in certain circumstances, like, for example, right? Let's say that an apartment building collapses and you're on the street and you see it and you rush in there and first responders aren't there yet and you're trying to help people. That's perfectly fine. But once the first responders set up the perimeter, they don't want you digging through the rubble. I get that. I understand that because they have to figure out what's safe, what's not, what's going to collapse further, what's not, right? This is not that. This is food deliveries, water deliveries, rescuing people who are stranded. They don't want you doing that. Why do you think that is? You have any idea? It doesn't seem like it would make much sense, does it?
No. They don't care is one thing.
Okay,
But I'm trying to think, what's your reason?
So here's what I have heard, right? I have heard that there are vast mineral deposits in those areas. And they want people to, I won't go so far as to say they want people to perish, although I would not rule that out. I would say they do not want civilization to maintain in that area.
I see.
Because much like Maui,
we heard that.
You can acquire these properties for pennies on the dollar after a certain disaster takes place.
Yeah.
Now, do I have any hard and fast evidence that I can hold up and show you, yeah, this is definitive? No, I don't. Right? I'm just going to be straight up. I don't have that. But what I do have is the history of our government, the history of the people in power who have wasted billions of dollars on people who shouldn't even be here, in my opinion. And we don't have money for residents. We don't have money to help people who have lost everything.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's some bullshit. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. Because we have, and so the left is like, well, no, it's from this program. It's from that program. It's not from FEMA. FEMA's just the steward, and it's this, and you can explain it however the hell you want. Whatever helps you sleep at night. What I will say is we have billions of dollars to ship to Ukraine. We have billions of dollars to ship to Israel. We have billions of dollars to ship to countries around the world, and we have about $1.6 billion, over $1 billion. Let's just say over $1 billion for the care and feeding of migrants, but we don't have it for citizens.
Yeah, it should be America first.
That's some bullshit. It should be America first. And you know what's really funny to me, and it's not funny in a ha-ha kind of way. It's funny as in, this is tragic. It would have been so easy for the current administration to swing the court of public opinion in their favor. All they had to do was come in and actually help people after this hurricane. If they had come in and said, yes, we're going to spend a lot of money, but we'll worry about that later, right? We'll fix it later. We'll take from this. We'll take from that. We'll do whatever we need to do, but we will take care of these people because that's what we do. That's what the Democrats say all the time.
Yeah.
All they had to do was come in and actually take care of these people. And even I would have been like, okay, you know what? All right.
But
it's
no,
the
they didn't.
Opposite.
Yeah, they didn't. They don't care.
It is almost as if someone is pulling the strings going, you got to look as bad as possible. Do everything you can to make the American people look at you and go, oh, they're absolute slime. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it's certainly, you know, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, I'm your fan, you know. What's your thoughts? I mean, do you think this is all like sheer coincidence? My coincidence meter is about full. I'm just going to say that. There's so many, well, that's an interesting coincidence. Well, that's an interesting coincidence.
I don't know. It's definitely a coincidence. You're right. A lot of.
I mean, so we've got, and we didn't even talk about East Palestine, Ohio.
True.
East
They're
Palestine,
forgotten.
Ohio. Yeah. Springfield, Ohio. The various areas affected by the hurricane. Maui. It's a pattern, dude. It's not, this isn't a one-off.
Have all this money for illegals and shipped overseas, but we can't help our own veterans.
Right. Speaking of veterans, so one of the things that I ran across, just so you guys know, I am actively working on getting the videos done. I got really frustrated yesterday, so I had to stop, but I am working on it. But during our tour of Springfield, they took us to this kind of raggedy little motel, right? Now, they had a plan in Springfield for the city to buy this property. Okay. It had I want to say 70, I want to say 77, but 70 plus rooms. Okay. For the city to buy this hotel, outfit it as basically temporary homeless housing. Okay. And they hired a company that would manage it and take care of that for them. Okay. Well, after a very short amount of time, it went from 70 plus rooms to we only got 20 that are any good.
Wow.
Then it was, well, we spent, like $1.5 million fixing windows and doing this. And the guy who actually took us on the tour was like, I don't know why this company's even spending money on the place in the first place. They're just supposed to manage it, but whatever. Really, kind of long story short, they ended up with nothing because they closed it down. So they spent over $2 million for nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, there's nobody stays there now. It's condemned. Nothing. And at a certain point, it gets to, is this planned?
That's
this just doesn't seem coincidental anymore. This seems like part of a pattern, part of a plan.
Businesses can't survive you doing that.
Right.
That is really weird.
Yeah. And I learned a lot when I went to Springfield, right? I've talked about a little bit about this, but I cannot stress to you guys enough how similar Springfield, Ohio is to our area. Used to be a big manufacturing hub. It's not anymore. Used to have really nice, big, beautiful homes on the main street, right? Now they're all subdivided into apartments. It looked like driving down the streets of Springfield. I'm like, this looks like Michigan City.
Wow.
This looks like downtown LaPorte. I even referenced that to my son, and he's like, oh crap, you're right. Yeah. I mean, I cannot stress how similar it is. So this could and probably will happen here. Now, I have heard that several cities in Indiana, including Michigan City, are on the list for the migrants.
You sent me something.
Yeah. So, okay. if you go to I think it's Michigan City or something, I signed up. I got to check my emails. I will show you guys in the next few days. I'm going to do a live on it, and I'm going to show you guys the documents that I found. Now, do they say we're going to ship in 25,000 Haitians? No, of course not. It does not say that. What it does say is all the pretty words that the progressives love: financial equity, redistribution of assets. If you guys don't recognize these buzzwords by now, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's there in black and white. Did you read it?
I did. And yeah you're right. They dress it up to seem good, but if you pay attention, you know what their intentions are. Right.
And these are the exact same progressive ideologies that have been interwoven into communities like Springfield and other places around the country, where suddenly there's this massive influx of people that they don't know what the hell to do with. And what's fascinating to me is, so I did a live from Springfield before I was able to get, I'm still learning what's going on. I'm still investigating before I actually had to sit down breakfast with everybody on Sunday. And some of the comments were mind-blowingly stupid about how bringing 25,000 people in to Springfield was actually a good thing.
Wow.
Yeah. How it just shows that, we need this.
So these were people that you ran into?
No, these were online comments.
Oh, online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me make that clear. That's a good thing. So out of the people that I spoke to in Springfield, I found 2 out of the 100 or so people that I spoke to. I found 2 that had an overall positive,
I was going to say,
message about it. Now, one was just because they hated Trump. I want to make that clear. They couldn't articulate any actual positives, but because Trump was against it, that meant it had to be good if Trump's against it.
Those people drive me nuts.
This is the kind of stupidity that's out there. It really, if Trump told you you have to breathe to stay alive, I promise you there would be a what is it called? An opinion piece, an op-ed in the New York Times talking about how Trump lied and oxygen is actually bad for you.
Yeah. You're right. What else can you say?
It's so dumb. It is so dumb. Again, I don't know, like, the best way to go about this. I couldn't tell you, right? And I want to make it very clear that the immigrants that have been sent to Springfield, the vast majority of them are not there illegally. That's important because that's what, if you guys saw the VP debate, this is what Vance was talking about when he talked about the app, the CBP1 app. They only recently changed it so you could do that with a simple button press. All of a sudden, you're no longer an illegal. All of a sudden, you're seeking asylum. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it flipped everything on its head. And it created a ton of issues like we're seeing now. I am not against immigration.
I'm not either.
At some point, my family, half of my family is pure Cajun, right? They came from Nova Scotia back when the French settlers came down to Louisiana and settled the region and then became American citizens. The other half of me is, a hodgepodge of various European. At some point, my family immigrated here. Yours did too.
Yeah, I'm mostly German and Swedish.
Yeah, I have. And for those of you out there who maybe don't know what Cajun is a hodgepodge of races. It's actually multiracial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's Indian, there's Spanish, there's French, there's, Native American, there's some black in there, there's
I'm
all
not
kinds
against
of stuff.
Nothing wrong with immigration.
Right.
I don't the right way. We need to know who you are.
But yes, you have to be vetted because you can't just let people in without knowing who they are. And you have to do it the right way. You have to be legal. And I'm not talking about stupid loopholes that exist on an app. I'm talking about legitimately assimilating. Because when, not that long ago, when you wanted to be an American citizen, you had to learn the language. You had to take a citizenship test. You had to swear fealty to, you had to, Pledge of Allegiance, but you had to swear allegiance to the country that you wanted to come to.
Uh-huh.
That's why if you look into it, it's interesting. The vast majority of countries on the planet have far more restrictive immigration policies than the United States, especially many of these Central American countries that these people are fleeing from are far more restricted than the U.S.
And about that app, I think they did that to make it more difficult for if Trump wins in November, for him to be able to.
Not if, when.
We'll see. But anyway, to deport them, I think they made it more, because it's going to be very difficult for Trump to deport millions of people.
It's funny you mentioned that. First of all, let's do a quick time check here. We're good. A couple more minutes. So one of the things that they did, I noticed during the VP debate, is they tried to kind of spring that whole deportation thing on Vance, right? They were like, well, how do you plan on deporting all these people, right? I think Vance handled it very, very well. Instead of getting bogged down in the, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It's not he's just the VP. What's really funny to me, another thing that's really funny to me is there's so much focus on, well, how are you going to make that work? But so little focus on how are we going to assimilate that many people?
That's true too.
Like, even if you are for unchecked immigration, right? Let's just say you're an idiot, excuse me, and you're for completely unchecked immigration. If you don't want these people to assimilate, then you might as well just go move there.
Yeah.
Venezuela, wherever, right? You might as well just go there, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to be living in a region that is controlled by people who are not loyal to this country, who don't care about this country. They know their situation. They know their history, their culture, all that stuff. They don't take the time to learn our culture. They don't take the time to learn our language. They don't take the time to learn what made this country great in the first place. They know what they came here with, which is survival. And don't get me wrong, dude. If there was nothing else to eat, I would eat a cat. I would feel horrible about it. I would cry, especially if I liked that cat, right? But in order to save myself from starvation, or more importantly, to save my children from starvation, yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
That's why I can't get mad about that, because that's what they know. They're going to eat what they can. They're going to survive.
True.
I get that. But it falls on the whatever administration decided it was a great idea to funnel them into Springfield, Ohio. It falls to them to teach them this is not there. This is not hate. We have different rules here. We have different expectations here. But that doesn't seem to be a priority. And that's what's so frustrating. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I've noticed. There are far too many things happening for it to be coincidence anymore. Just way, way, way too many oops, right? Maui, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, all of these areas. And it's just convenient that FEMA only has $750 to hand to them. But if you're from Haiti and you're in Springfield, then you have thousands of dollars on your food stamp card and thousands of dollars cash on your cash assistance card. You're able to go get a really nice car and crash it up. And they talked about how the police were told not to cite them for no insurance, no plates, No, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was during the breakfast, which you haven't seen that footage yet. No, you saw the breakfast
seen
footage.
parts of it.
Parts of it. We'll cover that really soon. Like I said, I'm trying to get it tweaked so it's more understandable. Part of it's upside down. It's a lot, but I promise you get it soon. I promise I'm working on it. It's on the hard drive now and not just scattered around in various devices. So we're getting there. I will say that the tour, the camera that we used, the audio was atrocious. So I'm going to have to, I talked to a couple people. I have some ideas on how to fix it. I'm going to work on that, but that's okay. We surmount the obstacles. We push forward. Unfortunately, it seems like, do people still care about Springfield? I mean, with everything that's going on, it seems like, we've moved on to the hurricane victims now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I know how the people from Maui must be like, looking at stuff, because shortly after Maui, it was something else, and then something else, and then something else. Enough so that like East Palestine, Ohio, right? Shortly after them, it was Maui. And then all the focus was there. And then the focus was here.
You never hear about them anymore.
No,
ever.
You don't. You don't. All right. We got another video to do. So stay tuned to the channel. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. And we'll get with Sean really soon about what his work schedule is coming up. And we'll have him on again real soon. Thanks for joining us. God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the United States of America. Hope you have a great evening. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion'sDailyDose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers Sean Holgram and Michael B. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose.